A retro-inspired beat-em up. What comes to your mind when this is the first thing you read in the game's description? Maybe you think this is a game where the combat was inspired by Final Fight, Streets of Rage, or Cadillacs and Dinosaur, or maybe you think that it can be an awesome and gorgeous pixel art game like Alien vs Predator or The Gladiator. Well, you wouldn't be wrong, but let me tell you a secret. Nowadays, more often than not, I see this more as a red flag than anything else, but before I forget, hi, I am Savino, and this is The Flying Kick. Chipmonk was developed by Niemi Bros Entertainment and released in 2019 for Steam, and now the game is being released for PlayStation, Switch and Xbox, being brought by Killbyte Interactive. It will be available on September 28th for $9.99. The story here is pretty simple and basically non-existent. It's about some gray squirrels that stole all the food from the land, threatening all the animals with starvation. Now you must take control of Gray, Red and Chicks, the three heroes, to recover the food. And you wanna know something sad? I just learned this story because I went out of my way to look for it. There's nothing in the game telling you who you are or what's happening. Look, I'm not one to criticize beat-em ups for its poor story. One of my favorite beat-em ups is Double Dragon, and that's saying a lot about how much I care, but this is just lazy. The land has no name, the Grey Squirrel faction has no name, and the name of your characters are... Let's talk about the graphics, because there's nothing to see here, folks. The first thing you should know about this game is that this is a homage, that's a strong word, but yeah, an homage to Golden Axe. From the gameplay to the graphics, the developers tried to mimic a lot of stuff from Sega's fantasy beat-em up, but the thing is, they failed, and hard. The graphics are grainy, with some boring backgrounds that barely offer anything interesting. There are some moments here and there where a spark of inspiration can be seen, especially on the second level, but overall, the game does not look good. The characters are well made, I think. I imagine it's not easy to make a photorealistic squirrel in pixel art, so I'll give them that, but even so, the characters are kind of boring, with little to nothing interesting to speak about. The graphics in Golden Axe are grainy, but in their case was a style that came from the hardware colors limitation. I think, correct me if I'm wrong please. And the artists from Sega knew how to take advantage of this to create interesting backgrounds. Here, all you will see are forests and some houses here and there. The art is not bad, it's just boring and nothing noteworthy. Now, if there is something noteworthy is the OST, but not for the reasons you may think. The soundtrack in this game is... Jeez, I won't say anything else. Take a listen to some of the tunes. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Now I will let the combat play a little bit and I will push the volume up, so if you are wearing headphones, lower your volume now. All good? Good. Again, I am so sorry. As you can hear, this is a mess. The music is not only boring, but it uses some notes that will pierce your ears like a needle. Not to mention the cacophony of sounds that everything becomes when you are playing. Man, I heard some weak OSTs in the past, but this is straight up bad. It is one of the cases that the game is better if played without sounds, but let's not be too hasty. When it comes to the combat and gameplay, the game is basically Golden Axe, but wrong. Here you have your attack, jump and run buttons, or you can press twice on the directional, arrow and your special. You also have dash attacks and ground pounds to spice things up. Your special is limited by the amount of mushrooms you have in store, and you can get more by fighting some flies that you can find mid-level. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The combat also tries to follow the simple but effective formula of Golden Axe. A simple series of attacks that knocks your enemy down, rinse and repeat until the end. But do you remember how it used to be fun in Golden Axe with great animations and excellent hit stun? How the moves were interesting with some cool throws? Here, the combat does not feel that good. Actually, it doesn't feel good at all. It is extremely boring and repetitive with some uninteresting enemies in an uninteresting world. You will have to force yourself to cross the 8 levels that spread across 4 seasons in the game. At least, I suppose they are 4, because I didn't beat the game. I couldn't play any more than what I have played. Not only the combat is boring, but the hitboxes are off, enemies can overcome your attacks pretty easily, throwing you in pits that take a life from you, not to mention these crazy guys that come from nowhere to hit you and are extremely annoying. There is no strategy, the AI simply tries to surround you and follow your steps wherever you go. And it really doesn't matter much which character you pick here. I played with them all, and while yes, they feel a little bit different here and there, they are all boring to play with the same pull hitboxes and boring moves. This is why I said at the beginning of this review that being inspired by the classic is in a lot of cases a red flag. Copying the surface elements of classic games without understanding what made those games great is the perfect formula for failure. And there's another problem here, the theme is a complete waste of potential. Look, I'm all about crazy ideas like this one. Let's make a beat'em up about chipmunks, let's make a beat'em up with ants. But use this as your starting point and not as your end goal. You made a beat'em up about chipmunks, but what else? Excepting for being a bad copy of Golden Axe, what else do you bring that justifies the creatures? What features do they have that can become cool mechanics? They don't spit seeds or nuts from their mouths, they don't use their powerful teeth for anything, and their ability to climb or glide is completely ignored in this game, so what's the point of them being squirrels, just to look cute? If your form has no function except for aesthetics, then what's the point? Beat'em ups can look cute, but that's not what makes them interesting. You guys know that I'm always trying to see positive things in every game, because I believe that there's a public to every game around, but this one, there's nothing to it. It's not creative, it's not fun, it's not interesting, the music is annoying, the sound effects are straight up bad. Oh yeah, I was forgetting. You can only play this thing with the analog stick. Your D-pad does not work here, and not because it has another function. Oh no, it simply doesn't because. The game offers other modes like a second campaign, where you can suffer some more from boredom, a survival mode and a duel, which I didn't even try because, honestly, I played some bad games before. You can find a terrible asset flip that I reviewed a few months ago, but this one does even look like an asset flip, which makes everything worse. There was an effort in this game bigger than simply flipping assets, and even so the developer managed to make something as bad as one. For $10. No, not for 10, not for 5, not for 1. Look, I got this key for free from Qbyte, and I'm starting to question if they don't owe me some money because of that. And that's it for the review. I'm thanking the heavens this one is over, because I couldn't stand this game anymore. Holy brawlers. I hope you all have a better day than I did. And remember, Keep beating up. Jesus, finally this is over. Oh my god, this game was terrible. Oh god. Ugh.